The evidence you see... Evidence? Ammunition. The ammunition you see featured in today's episode of The Quiet Rifle came to me courtesy of my good friends at airrifleslugsaustralia.com. They are now supplying a whole bunch of wonderful things. So skip on over to that URL, link in description, and check out what they have. They've probably got something that you want. Element scopes, hawk scopes, range finders, patchworm cleaning kits, and of course, all things NSA, which is what we're going to talk about today. So they have the full range of NSA slugs. Read the little blurb, get an idea for what's going on there, and order yourself whatever it is that you want for your airgun. So good times. Thank you, airrifleslugsaustralia.com. So today we're going to talk about NSA 20.2 grain hollow point dish base slugs. These are a nice light 22 caliber slug that will work in most rifles, depending on what your twist rate is, I guess. But as you can read on the website where they came from, you can order them in big multi-packs to try a bunch of different weights. But I have a delightful FX Impact Mark II, so I can make it shoot if I want to make it shoot. I don't have to let the slugs dictate what they want to do. So that's why we're testing them today. I think it's important to have a repertoire of the lighter slugs in your toolkit for whatever it is you're doing. If you have something smaller than an impact, maybe like an Air Venturi Dreamline or whatever the other smaller, lower powered guns, or even guns just that have a smaller reservoir that you would get more shots out of with a lower reg pressure, that would be an advantage to these smaller slugs. They don't quite have the super high ballistic coefficient that the big, heavy, long slugs do have, but they're much, much, much infinitely better than a pellet. So a very good option to have, a very little handy little spanner to throw in your tool bag. So let's get to the numbers. 20.2 grains. The ones I tested were in 0.218, so they're available in a range of slightly different calibers in this weight range, 217, 2175, 218. The ballistic coefficient is 0.075, which is pretty good. It's not earth-shakingly wonderful, but it's much, much better than a pellet, and it does perform similarly to the higher weighted slugs, the bigger, longer ones. Does still kick the wind pretty good. They do get blown around more than the heavier slugs. I noticed that during my accuracy testing, which we will cover a bit later on, but still very good, still very good. Length is 0.260 inches, and obviously the weight is 20.2 grains. Now that's the claimed weight. What I actually measured from my test sample of 50 different randomly selected slugs, I found that they were all 20.2, 20.3 or 20.4 grains. So pretty well evenly spread between them. Not quite as precise as the 17.5 grainers that we tested last time. I will link that video, I don't know, it's probably this side. And you can go and click that and watch that if you want. But they were slightly more consistent as far as weight goes. But these ones were all heavier than the prescribed weight or the prescribed weight, and fairly consistent. Yeah, nothing way out of whack. As far as condition goes, they were in excellent condition, but some of them had some weird lines on them. I don't know if it was just like maybe it's lube. I don't know. That's just condensed in one spot. Maybe it's some sort of casting line, I'm not sure. I'll roll in some pictures so that you can see what I'm talking about. But as far as condition goes, they're actually better than pretty much everything else I've tested, because they have that same NSA excellency, like everything's pretty much exactly the same. But for some reason, this batch of these slugs that I've got doesn't have any deformations whatsoever around the hollow points, at least none that I've noticed. All of the other hollow point slugs, Grizzlies, FX hybrids, some other NSA weights, H&N Sport slugs, JSBs, all of them have little minor, little teensy-weensy imperfections and moulding marks inside the hollow points. But for whatever reason, these NSA 20.2 grains didn't have that. So, yay. 9 out of 10 for condition. I like it. They're good. Very good. Very well delivered. They come in a little cardboard box, and inside that cardboard box they're all contained within a plastic Ziploc bag. And I didn't think that that was going to be a super great way of packaging them, but apparently it is, because none of them are damaged and they all look wonderful. Come in a matte finish, so yeah, 9 out of 10 for condition. Let's talk money. Price. The price of these bad boys from airrifleslugsaustralia.com, so this is Aussie dollars, $36.95 for 375 of them. That puts them at about 9.8 cents per shot. And that sort of puts them between a little bit more, teensy weensy little bit more expensive than the lighter NSA slugs per shot. And sort of between something like the H&N Grizzly, which you'll find is about 8.3 cents per shot, which is very affordable. And then if you look a little heavier up their list, the 30 grain H&Ns that I've tested before, which were very good as well, by the way, they're about 12.5 cents per shot. But very good value for money, considering the other sort of more premium ammos that are out there, like the FX hybrids. They're up around 28.5 cents per shot, so like 20 cents a shot more. They're very good, but I don't know if they're 3 times the prices. They're not. I don't think they're 3 times as good. They're wonderful, and I love them, and I use them all the time, but probably not 3 times as good as NSA, let's be honest. Excellent value for money for the NSA slugs, and you get 375 of them in a box. So you know the packaging is nice and small. It's no bigger than it needs to be. So your shipping is also going to be pretty affordable, and the shipping from Air Rifle Slugs Australia is excellent as well, if you're in Australia, obviously. Alright, let's talk tuning. I will delve into my records for my FX Crony app. It's very handy having the FX Crony app. Everything, you just click save and you're all good. Deny, okay, clickety poo. Saved strings. Alright, so I just unwound my, I wanted to shoot these really fast to see how they would go at super high speeds. So I opened up my hammer spring quite a bit and cranked out my valve and had the valve open a fair way. So it's got quite a bit of punch to it, and straight away, just from my guesstimation, I got pretty lucky and I got a 10 shot string. All of them were 10-16, 10-17 and 10-18. So very, very tight and very consistent. I suspect that when that happens, I'm hitting the valve stop pretty hard. So we're sort of valve bouncing on that one, but you know, when it gives you results like that, whatever, we'll take them. So that was max power, and then I stepped it down to the next rung on the hammer wheel to see how it would go. And we got 979 feet per second with a standard deviation of about 7 feet per second. And then once again, a few rungs further down, we had 937 feet per second. So I had a good 3 different places to test this ammo at to see how it would perform with the harmonics in my barrel. Yeah, it was quick and easy because I was already tuned for the 17.5 grains, and the 20.2s aren't really that far off it. So I just gave it a little bit more mumbo, ran it over the Crony, and we were all good. So being that the weights are what they are, very consistent, all being 20.2, 20.3, 20.4, we didn't get any wild crazy flyers or anything, so easy done. Tuning, mint, no worries. Let's have a looky-loo at the accuracy. This was my 50 yards 0. Very small groups at 50 yards. We're talking, you know, fingertip, not much more than a fingertip. Bear in mind that I'm just standing on the back of my ute, well not standing, lying down on the back of my ute, shooting these quick nice zeros. So this was at over 1,000 feet per second, that first max power tune. So not very big groups at all. We're looking at 16 mil. What have we got here? This one's 9 mil, 10, 11 mil, whatever. Small groups, but you know, who cares? Everything works at 50 meters. It was really more just to get us on paper. This was the first day that I shot, because I shot over a couple of days. This is at 103 meters, not 103 yards, 103 meters. Why 103 meters? Because that's where I parked the ute. I don't know, man, whatever. And I did some maths here, just to put this into perspective, because it's easy to get confused about these groups being slightly bigger than you would want them to be. So I actually sat down and worked out the MOA-age at 103 meters. So one MOA at 103 meters is 29.718 millimeters, or 1.17 inches. So all these groups that are over an inch, they're still MOA groups. So with this particular rifle and tune that I've got mine set up on, 1.1 MOA is easily achievable, because as you can see here, we've got 25 mil group, that's 5 rounds. I did a couple of 3-round groups because it was kind of windy that day. So on windy days, I'm just going to do 3-round groups now, because the wind changes way too much. At my place, it swirls around and turns the other way, and we're really testing my ability to actually shoot in the wind, not the actual consistency of the round itself. So if I just quickly bang out a 3-round group, then it's just a much better reflection of what's actually going on. I did do some 5-round groups in different conditions, but for now, this is what I'm presenting. So we've got a 28 mil group, 24 mil group, 36 mil group, 40 mil group, and a 35 mil group with a dropped shot. So you are easily going to be able to get minute of angle accuracy at 100 meters out of this ammo if you spend a little bit of time finagling it and you do your part. If you suck at shooting, they're going to be bigger. If it's windy, they're going to be bigger. So let's move on to the other stuff that we did the next day. So this is again at 103 meters. We've got some slightly bigger groups getting blown around by the wind, because I was doing 5-round groups this time. And I had bumped it down to 962. This was a different day. It was much windier, but I wanted to try it at a few different speeds. And I've only been able to try it to put that much shooting time in over the course of a couple of days. I kind of have to get home, throw everything in the back of the ute, and then rush off down to the back paddock for the range and have a crack, and then quickly come back up and get ready for work the next day, because I'm running low on time. But as you can see, still very good. 1.4 inches, 35 millimeters for 5-shot group. You can see this one, I was watching this through the scope while I was shooting it, obviously, and I was watching it walk up and to the left. So it was a nice consistent wind, that gust. It was all in the right place. But yeah, nonetheless, it still walked its way up to the left and blew my group out to 35 mil. Which, 1.4 inches, just over 1.1 MOA, I guess. And now we've got 3 or 4 of them that were that size, 34 mil group for 5 rounds, ever so slightly over 1 MOA. And then down here, this is an example group of what happens when these light rounds with this slightly lower ballistic coefficient than the super long, heavy, high BC slugs that you can get from these same manufacturers gets pushed around by the wind. These were my first 2 shots, and then I saw the grass just go whoosh and push off to the left, and my next 3-round group was obviously, it's an MOA group in its own right, but it's in the wrong spot. So if you count it as a 5-round group, you're looking at nearly 3 inches at 103 meters. So a little bit too big on that one, but it was definitely the wind that did it. It was not the round to blame. So this is just think about this when you are making a compromise on weight for ballistic coefficients and that sort of thing. If it does get windy, even though they are slugs, they will still get blown around. Righto. So these couple of pages here, these were shot at that lower speed, so 937-ish. My gun didn't really like them. We had a couple of sub-MOA groups over here, only 3-rounders, but the majority of these groups tended to blow out pretty quick, and even though I made note of it being quiet wind, it wasn't very windy at all this day, but it seems like as soon as you go under that 950 feet per second mark, you're playing with fire with these little light rounds. So drive them hard and drive them fast. So there's not much more to say with these. I think it's a fair assessment of this ammo to say that it comes in excellent condition. It's well packaged. It's priced very well for what it is. It's very accurate. It's easy to come by now that it's in Australia for us Aussies. Cheap shipping. very affordable and easily MOA capable, I think, probably from most guns. You know, like I am shooting this in an expensive high-end PCP, but I think being that it's so consistent from all other measurements, all other assessment modes, it's probably going to work well in most everything. And obviously you can get a couple of different test packs sent out to you. So if you don't know whether or not your barrel is 217 or a 218 or a 2175, or you just want to try them all and see which one works best, even if you do know, you can do that. So excellent product, and very happy with it. I think I'll probably be using it again, but I don't know. I feel like I liked the 17.5 grains more than these ones. Because I think if I'm going to make that weight compromise with the BC, because these they're listed as the same BC. I don't know if they actually are when you measure it. I didn't measure mine with a Doppler radar or anything like that. This was all just information from the website, and they're going to do a better job of measuring it than I am anyway. But they appear to have the same ballistic coefficient as the 17.5 grainers, and they appear to blow around in the wind the same. So I think it would be a matter of deciding, you know, if you're going to make that compromise, do you want to go all the way or do you want to go halfway, or is it better for you and your particular rifle to try the 20s? I don't know, but I say try them all because they're so affordable, so why not? But yeah, I think for me personally, in my impact with the Superior liner, I think the Superior liner prefers the 17.5s over the 20.2s. Could be wrong though, they're still performing extremely well. When you're shooting an air rifle at over 100 meters and you're getting, you know, MOA groups, it's pretty good. You can't really argue with those results, they're good results. So yeah, happy chappies. And if you look at the ballistic tables out of Strelok and everything, they're carrying a heap of energy at that range too, especially compared to a pellet. So excellent, good for hunting, good for targets, good for everything. I like it. Don't forget, on your way out, click the link in the description, have a looky-loo at their website. They've got lots of juicy stuff coming on in. You can order through them for a bunch of different things now. So check them out. Support the people who support me if you want to see more of this kind of content. Yeah, and coming up, stay tuned, because we're going to do some different stuff. I'm going to go out and I think I'm going to try and shoot every day for a while and vlog my experience and see if I actually get any better. Because I found that shooting my compound bow, if I shoot that every day, even if it's only like, you know, 10 arrows a day, I get exponentially better very quickly. So I'd like to get much better and learn to read the wind better and just get better trigger control and learn the gun even more. And yeah, that could be fun. It depends on whether or not I can find the time to shoot every day. It might be shoot every other day. But yeah. And a bit of hunting coming up. Got to go and knock over some toads. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe.